good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Welcome back to another episode with me, Juras6x, in Juras6x World. I hope you're doing good. Before we start, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and comment down below. It really does help, and I could really do with some help right now. After last episode, it's been a tough few days. We have been working our little butts off, and for it we have a few things to show. We now have a shulker chest full of all of our gear to replenish absolutely everything we lost in the nether and more. I went on a bit of a crazy one, I'm not gonna lie. It was a case of just bringing ourselves back together, regrouping and feeling good about it. So we now have two sets of armor with wings, full sets of tools, a couple of different swords. So we got our general sword, our spider smasher, and our smiter of the undead, which we've had for a while, with one of the few remaining things. But what we do need to do is use our netherite ingots. So, a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, the amount of ancient debris I got. I was a bit surprised that I only have that, but you know what? We'll take it. It's not all bad. It's all, it's pretty good. We at least have some netherite now. Got all of our gear, so I guess, no, we want to go on that one. Guess we do our helmet. That's all. Yeah. Pants. Yep. Boots. Yep. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. Can we? Oh. Yeah, that looks good. Look like a dragon warrior or something. I don't know. Looks good though. I like it. What are we doing? Well, I think one of the things we realised after losing all our gear in the nether is we really need a villager trading area. We really need to get that going. So, been doing a bit of research, got two ideas which we're going to bring together. So what we're going to do is just out here in this sort of area here, we're going to build a trading hall. So I guess we have to chop down some of these trees. I'm just going to plonk it down over here. We've got some traders up there, but let's be honest, we need to go big on this. We can't afford to do anything less right now. So without any further ado, let's get chopping down some trees. Since you last saw me, I've dug out all along here, got in these two rows, so we've got about 19 or space for 19 clerics or whatever they're called, librarians on each side. That should give us every enchant plus a couple more for if there's any in the future, or if there's some, we need a couple more, whatever. So this is the tile, I guess, per librarian, and what we're going to do is we're going to build them up all along here. So I'll probably do block at a time, just running along. Unfortunately we don't have the replay mod for that, but we'll do that. I'll probably show you how it's built up on this side as we do the first one. So let's get this row in, and then we can start working on this side. So what you want to do now is work out if this is your first one going in, which hopefully it is. This is my floor level. So you'll drop down 2 blocks and then you'll put a redstone dust here. Now your villager will actually be standing on this one over here. So if we just put down our sticky piston here with a trapdoor on top, it can be any of the wood trapdoors. And then what we can do is come up 2 here, and then across. So that is sort of becomes a part of the hall. So now we've got slightly wider. I like to put my lanterns or lecterns, sorry, facing towards my villager. Yeah, I want them to feel comfortable in their environment. And then what we'll do is we'll stick a a lever here and power it. So that will just mean that the villager is lifted up, so that it is away from the zombie, which will be running along the back, sort of changing them into zombie villagers. So from here we need to build the back of this. So what we want to do is put a block there, a temporary block there, and then we'll do another temporary block there, and then we'll put a glass, piece of glass there, and then come up to, so that one under there is another temporary block. And then what we want to do is just have a observer facing that way, so you can see the faces of all these. So this was another temporary block, and then just on top we'll put a sticky piston, and then we can knock out our temporary blocks here and here, and then step back, and that is what our first phase of this will look like. So that one's a temporary block as well. So this is probably the best angle. So if you want to take a screenshot, so we've got our lever powering our piston through this block. We've got our workstation, so that doesn't have to be a lectern, it can be any of the workstations. And then you've got the blocks, so we'll use this to sort of manage what's going on. So our zombie will come through here, so he'll be able to, in this state he won't be able to reach the villager, but should the villager get lowered he'll be able to reach. So the next step now is to put our string in. So we'll just come around here, so put the string in front of the observer, and you'll know it works because you'll see the sticky piston just pulse up there. And then what you want to do is put stone bricks either side of the observer, especially important if you're building this outside, because that will stop the light from getting to our zombie. And then we also want to put a slab on either side of that. Obviously the next one will be here, so this can work on both sides of this workstation. So that is the next step. Quite simple, but it just keeps the villager locked in that area, allows them to, whether they're up or down, it allows them to gossip through these half slabs with any villagers that are next to it. So the next step is to place a temporary block on here, and then what we want to do is get the observer and have it facing out again. So then that looks like so, and then on top we just want to put a sea lantern or whichever sort of light source of your choice is on top, just to light things up, stop things from spawning. And then we can remove that block there. Then what you can also do is put your string on top there, and then we'll put a slab underneath it. So that will be the system that will eject the villager when they're on the rail track coming round. That will pull the slab out from underneath them, they'll drop down and it will put the slab back. So what we'll do now is go round to the back and we'll start pulling in the redstone back there. So from here we're going to move around to the block and just put in some scaffolding, as we don't have creative option here. So from this light source, this sea lantern, we can then come out to, we want to put one on the back of this piston here, and then put a temporary block behind that, just so we can put in those blocks. So what it will look like is sort of this zigzagging up, and they will need to be, or for these ones here, they will need to be light glass blocks so that the redstone wire can go through it. And then we'll just pop up here. We want to put a redstone there, sort of alternating up all the way to the top, and then all the way over on top of the sea lantern as well, or whichever block you choose to use. So there we go, it looks like it's alright. So we've got all the wire going in the right direction. So at this stage I like to think about where our rail track will be, so we'll just start putting that in, and what you'll need it to do is at least come along the front of this block here, because what will happen is the activator rail will eject the villager out of this this minecart as it's traveling along and onto that slab there. So what we want to do is make sure it comes along the front, and they'll always get ejected from the right or to the right, so you'll need to make sure that the rail tracks are traveling in the right direction. So once you've got your rail track, come up here with some glass, so we'll just put a glass either side, 2 high, so one there, and then where this redstone dust is, we just want one on top there with redstone wire or redstone dust on top, and then that will go into another sticky piston, which we can put, if we're very careful, right there. So that is our sticky piston. So all that's really left to do is put in the train tracks and power them. So I'm just going to go grab those blocks now. So we need some activator rails, a redstone block, redstone lamp, powered rails, and plenty of levers. So for each one of these modules you'll need a powered rail, activator rail, and a lever. So here we'll just put, it goes powered rail, activator rail, powered rail, activator rail, powered rail, all the way along. So then when the minecart comes along, it will hit this activator rail, the villager will be kicked out into here. That will acknowledge that there's something here, and we'll just pull it out, and then the villager will drop down below. So what we also want to do is we want to power these powered rails, so we'll just do a lever above it, and then we want to put the redstone block there so that it will power the activator rail if there's some a space for the villager to go in. And then you can also put a redstone torch there, so it will say, yep, okay, there's a space here, so we'll take a villager. So if you've got your aesthetics in, you can see very quickly, oh, I've got like three spaces or 3 areas where I need to look at. So there we go, that's each module. You basically only need to build, well, for the ones on the end you'll need to build whichever on the outside, but really a module is too wide, and then you can just bump it all the way along. The way I like to do it, and the way I did this, was I literally built one piece at a time, just going along. So I put in all the stone bricks, all the pistons, etc, and just work my way up from that. So gonna get on that, and we'll be back once it's looking a bit more like that. Both sides are now in place, so we've got 18, I think it is, so I've lost count, I've counted so many times, down each side. I'm gonna have my sort of villager chooser over here, so based off of Logical Geek Boy's design, we put that there. This will be in case, so I think I'll probably have the villager drop here, maybe. Yeah, I think here, No, probably here. And then this will just seal up the room, so the only thing that he'll be recognizing is the workstation we have here. This will be covered up like so. Brilliant, done. And then once we've got a trade we're happy with, we'll press the button. So we'll call the villager from here, send the villager from here, and he'll go up over here to this track, and we'll go all the way down until he finds a station that's free. If there's none on this side, he'll come around here and then back along, and if nothing else, he'll just drop into a well, probably some lava or something, I don't know. But I think what will probably inevitably happen is I think I'm gonna have quite a big arch, turn this almost into like a church or cathedral or something like that. So we may well have to divert this up over so that it works. But that's something for later on that we can figure out. So I'm probably going to take this from here. I would definitely check out Logical Geek Boy's video. I'll put a link in the description down below, just so that you can design it how you want to. It's basically what he does in the video. He'll give you each module and you can put it together in whatever way you feel best. I think I might actually have my breeder and stuff at the top here, so we'll have maybe a large tower up in the sky at this end, but otherwise we'll have probably a cathedral type thing. Not sure if I'll even maybe go up another row. Might sort of give that option for somewhere down the line that we can do so. We'll obviously have to make sure that we're sort of giving ourselves enough space with the redstone and what have you. So this may well go quite high up into the sky if we do that, but I think it'll definitely give us the opportunity to have a one-stop shop if that's what we want, for some villagers and for trading and that sort of thing. For our general stuff, we'll still keep the farm trading area over in our big house over there, but I think this one will be our main sort of scholar librarian trade area. So I'm going to get on with this and I'll be back shortly once we've got everything in place for you to see. We now have our villager transport system built in. So we come all the way up here, and in this room we have where we can call the villagers and do our trading. So if we stand here, this blocks off the room so they're not sort of seeking out any of these blocks out here. And then we can call our minecart, which will appear there with our villager in once we have some villagers. And then what we can do, we'll just jump in. So we'll ride this, we'll come out here, and because this is the first one, we get popped off there. But what it will do is it'll keep coming round, and then if we quickly get up here, we can jump in it here, and then if we're still on it, it will pull us off or push off the villager onto this magma block, where they will die. Up here we have a collection for our minecart, so we've only got 3, but that should be more than enough for sort of doing this whole system, because there should only be 1 at a time. That goes into our cactus, gets destroyed, and then falls into the hopper, which goes into the back of our dispenser. We have this system to collect our villagers from here, so I think maybe we'll have our villager breeder over here or somewhere in this area, but we will need to separate the babies from the adults just to make sure that we're not collecting any of the babies, so we can trade straight away. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the transport in. I've put in this sort of regal carpet in the middle now. May change that a little bit, but I think it's quite good, and we've got lights underneath. So this is really coming together now. I think what I've got to do now is really just build it up, make it a bit more mob proof at this time. I could probably get some of the villagers in and get villager breeder in up here. So gonna crack on with that, and I'll come back with an update shortly. We now have our villager breeder here. I was gonna hide this behind some exterior or something, but we've got our archers here, but I think this might actually look pretty good sort of being on display if we can build it into the tower, and especially if we've got these coming up either side, or another layer of our villagers, then it would be quite cool to have that still as sort of a centerpiece. So the villager breeder is the Impulse SV version, so we just need to get 2 villagers in the top here onto that fence post, and then we can just feed them potatoes. I can put in a auto feed system like we have on our original village breeder over there, and I've also connected it up to that villager breeder, so potentially we can get rid of it in the very near future, as we can just use this one and we can still have our villagers come from this breeder, but instead of them going off to their sort of respective places, we can just change that track there to send them off somewhere else. So we now have sort of the next step to do, which is just bring those villagers over. So let's give that a shot now. So we're over here in the remnants of our villager breeder. Still got 2 up there who can still breed, but we've just got to, let's go see what happens here. This may well work. So we're out the other side of our transport, and hopefully, yes, look at this, we got one in there already. Second villager on his way. That worked a little too well, it feels. Right, so hopefully now they will start breeding shortly. While we're trying to get breeder up and running, what I'm going to do is grab my other villagers from the old villager farm, and also the villagers here in this big mud hut. Basically, we'll get them out and get them into their slots. Will mean we'll have to be careful with mobs and the likes, but willing to take that risk at the moment, especially because we'll be able to get the breeder up and running pretty swiftly, so not too concerned there. So let me get the rest of the villagers in, and hopefully we'll start seeing some love hearts up there and signs that they're going to start breeding. We have just traded with this villager, and we now have knockback 2, so we can send him on his merry ways. Bye. Then let's call another one of our newly bred villagers. There he is, looking happy and dandy. So let's put this down. Let's see what we get. Okay, so let's keep doing this till we get something worthwhile. So this villager has just given us loyalty 3. Quite expensive, but that's not a problem. We can bring that down with a trusty zombie. So we've locked him in, and in doing so we now have a villager who is ready to go, and off he goes. Let's go see him drop into place. There we go, and he's in his little spot, all happy, loving life. Got our knockback 2 guy there. So we have got quite a few now who are lined up and ready. Still got a fair few left to go, but we'll keep plodding along. And I think what I'm going to do now is build up the rest of this building, leaving space for another row above these guys. So that should be pretty good. But that's going to be it for today's episode. A bit of a long one, I'm afraid, but hopefully it's been informative, and I hope you will join us next time for another episode of Juras6x's World. Please like, subscribe and comment. Be much appreciated. See you next time.